Brought to you by Penguin.
What It Takes to Heal. Written and read by Prentis Hemphill.
To my great-grandmother, Odessa Manson, for passing down the word. To Amaya, Chasten, and Miles, may you always be free enough to say what you know. A revolution involves making an revolutionary leap toward becoming more socially responsible and more self-critical human beings. In order to transform the world, we must transform ourselves. Gracely Boggs. Revolution and Evolution in the 20th Century. Prologue. Beginnings. When Trayvon Martin was killed, I had just started working at a community mental health clinic in Los Angeles, one of 3 Black therapists on a staff of nearly 50. Most of the clients assigned to me were Black, mostly queer, mostly working class, and mostly people who had never seen a therapist before. It was the reason I became a therapist in the first place. I hoped that people like me could sit across from someone like them and say the things they'd held on to for so long. I'd been in therapy myself for several years before I ever worked with someone who mirrored my identity in any way, and, most important, because of that mirroring, held my experiences with a certain weight and tenderness. It was a relief when it happened. I could let go of the extra effort it took to translate myself while at the same time trying to feel what was newly emerging. Suddenly, words that had never been safe enough to even form could be spoken. There's something revolutionary about creating a space for people to lay down what burdens them. We can carry our pain like a secret. We learn somewhere along the way that we are to blame for our own hurt, our shame, the feeling that we don't belong. We bottle these secrets up, push them down, because we don't have the time or space to look them in the eye or to fall apart. We find ways to cope, drowning our histories in substances or overwork, but we forget how, over time, the past and our efforts to stifle it erode our focus, our ability to be present, and our sense of power and agency in the world. Concealing this pain wears down our capacity for vulnerability and connection, and eventually our bodies too. Our stories need airing out and places to land. Whenever my clients at the clinic shared something of their pain with me, I knew that it was often a rare moment of expression, that they might hide their feelings again as soon as they left my room, but they might breathe just a bit easier too. Trayvon's name came up with nearly every one of my clients in the time between his death and the acquittal of the man who killed him, George Zimmerman. Trayvon was innocent, a young man caught in the crossfire of something set in motion a long time before him. One client, a mother, came in that week worried for the safety of her children. Trayvon's murder had prompted the talk, the one given to Black kids about how to make their bodies less of a provocation for the violence some are waiting to inflict. I had received some version of it myself. Don't talk back. Give them what they ask for. Leave with your life. She was terrified to know the warped way the world looked at her babies, and furious, too, that they were never seen as precious outside of her arms. Another client, in her 30s, remembered her favorite cousin who was now gone, also killed as though his life were meaningless. She told the story through tears, wiping them with force before they could fall. He was murdered by someone who looked like him, another young Black boy, but the root, she said, the hatred of Black people, was the same. At the end of another session, a man on the edge of middle age who had come to see me with his wife for couples therapy put a hand on my chair and asked, not looking me in the eye, if I had heard what happened to that boy. "It's a shame how they do us," he said, and shook his head. All the stories I heard at the clinic were different but linked. Individually experienced fears and feelings of grief were interwoven and overlapping, connected by race but specifically by history. By the Great Lie, told first to justify colonization, theft, and kidnapping, and to protect the teller from the truth of what they had allowed to happen, of what they were allowing themselves to become. The lie that claimed that Black people were subhuman, the lie that justified profiting from our bodies, that always found a way to render our early deaths acceptable, if not inevitable. I felt that same fear and grief too. There was something about Trayvon's face, his smile, that forced me.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?